From true stories to hidden gems, wildcards to holiday horror, our Christmas Movie Challenge 2024 ends with a bang. But which movie made the nice list? And which ended up on Santa's naughty list? Let's unwrap the final results. Alrighty, let's just jump right in. So the category for day 15 was a holly jolly true story, and the movie that was selected was The Man Who Invented Christmas. So this is a biographical retelling of Charles Dickens' journey to creating a Christmas Carol. It blends fact with festive imagination. And let's take a look where it lands on the Kero Scale. So first off, for holiday spirit, it is a definite 20. Dickens' transformation really does encapsulate the spirit of Christmas. For entertainment value, I've given it an 18. It is a creative and heartwarming watch for sure. For creativity, I've gone ahead and given it a 15. It really is kind of a clever blending of history and fantasy. Rewatchability, I've given this a 15 as well. It's great if you're a history buff or kind of a festive fan or somebody who really enjoys Christmas Carol. And then finally, for production quality, I have gone ahead and given this 19. It is pretty visually stunning and it does have some excellent performances. Overall, it's a charming and festive tribute to one of Christmas's most iconic stories. So this one lands at 87, which means it's a purr. Next up, we have The Night Before, and the category here was Jingle Bell Bash. So in this one, 3 lifelong friends reunite for a wild Christmas Eve filled with hilarious, heartfelt chaos. So let's break it down. So first off, we have Christmas Spirit, and I think for this one, it's an easy 20. It has the Christmas energy just flowing right the way through it to the very end. For entertainment value, this one is a 15. It's equal parts comedy and laughter, as well as heartfelt sentiment. For creativity, I've given this one a 12. It really is kind of a fresh twist on that holiday buddy comedy, but, ultimately, it's not reinventing the wheel. Rewatchability, I've also given this a 12. It's definitely fun, but it's not something I'm going to rush to watch every year. And for production quality, I've gone ahead and given this one an 18. It does have some slick editing and some strong comedic timing. So overall, this one is a hilarious, raunchy holiday outing, and it's best shared with friends. So on the Kero Scale, this one lands at a 77, which is a purr. So for day 17, the category was Top of the Nice List, and the movie selected was Muppet Christmas Carol. This is one of my personal favorites. It's a must-watch every year, and if you don't already know what it is, it's Charles Dickens' classic tale that gets a whimsical Muppet makeover led by Michael Caine's iconic Scrooge. So let's do the breakdown. Holiday spirit, easy 20. It's overflowing with festive cheer and charm. Entertainment value, another easy 20. It really is a very magical movie, and when you pair someone like Michael Caine, who's playing the role very serious, next to the Muppets, it's just a really good combination. Creativity, I've given this one an 18. It is a masterful retelling of the Christmas Carol story. Rewatchability, as I said, it's one I scramble to watch every single year, and I'd definitely be disappointed if I missed it. So for rewatchability, it's a 20. And then finally, production value, again, you have to go with a 20. It's really top tier in terms of the talent. The story is great, the Muppets, the puppetry is great, as always. The sets are very charming, and it gives that very kind of old English Victorian era kind of thing. That makes the whole thing really charming and wonderful to watch. So for this one, the total comes to 98, a near perfect movie. So this one is indeed a Meowsterpiece. Next up, our category is Have Yourself a Scary Little Christmas. And the movie that was selected was Krampus. So in this movie, a dysfunctional family learns the dark consequences of how losing their Christmas spirit. So let's break it down. Holiday spirit, this one sits at a 15. So it's definitely driven by the Christmas season, for sure. Okay, entertainment value. It is a 20. It's hilarious. It's got some great dark humor, and some kind of intense scares for a Christmas movie. Creativity, I've given it an 18. It definitely has a bold and inventive take on Christmas folklore. Rewatchability, it is a 19. If you're a horror fan who also happens to love Christmas, this movie was made for you. Production quality, it's a 20. It really has some amazing kind of creature design to some of Krampus's little minions and stuff. So it's definitely worth it just for that. But the atmosphere as well, and the kind of general storytelling of the piece, as well as some amazing performances, make this movie just a little bit special. So the total for this one is a 92. So this one is a per. Next up, the category was Laughing All the Way, and the movie Bad Santa. So in this movie, a drunken, cynical mall Santa unexpectedly finds redemption through a quirky kid. So for this one, holiday spirit, it's a 20. It is definitely the driving force of the movie, and it definitely has the warm and fuzzies in its own special way when it comes to Christmas. Entertainment value, I've given this one a 15. The humor is definitely a little darker, a little more adult leaning, I guess. Might not be for everybody, but it's still fun. Creativity is a 17. It is a unique and kind of irreverent twist on different holiday tropes. Rewatchability, I've given this one a 15. I won't be sad if I miss it every year, but it's definitely, if you're in the mood for a comedy, it's definitely one you can throw on. And production quality, also a 15. There really are some great comedic performances in this movie, and it's just kind of a pleasure to watch. So it's not your typical Christmas story, but it is hilariously heartfelt in its own kind of way. So the total for this one is an 82, and that makes it a per. Next category was Holly Jolly High Stakes, and the movie selected was Die Hard. There's a lot of arguments as about whether or not this is a Christmas movie, and I'm saying, for the record, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. End of story. So the plot summary for this one, a New York police officer, John McClane, fights terrorists in a Los Angeles skyscraper on Christmas Eve. So let's break it down. Holiday spirit is definitely an 18. The Christmas vibes are subtle, but definitely present throughout the movie. Entertainment value is 20. It really is just kind of a non-stop action-packed thrill ride. Creativity, I've given it a 12. I mean, an action movie is nothing new, and it's pretty typical of the type of movie, but it definitely kind of did something a little different by setting it at Christmas time, setting it in this one place, and really just utilizing the charm of Bruce Willis. Rewatchability is a 15. It is a must-watch every year, more so for action fans. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea for a Christmas movie. And production quality, it's an easy 20. It's just very well done, impeccably crafted set pieces, and great performances, especially from the lead and from Alan Rickman, who plays Hans Gruber, the terrorist. All things said and done, this one is an 85, which makes it a per. Next up, the category was Santa's Naughty List, and the movie selected was The Santa Claus. So in this movie, Tim Allen stars as a man who becomes Santa after accidentally killing Santa on Christmas Eve. Yeah, kind of sounds darker than it is. So let's give it a breakdown here. So holiday spirit, it's an 18. It's got plenty of Christmas. How about that? Entertainment value, 4. I don't like this movie. To me, this is a very slow Christmas movie, and on a rewatch, it just seems kind of dated. Creativity, it's a 10. It's a clever premise, but the execution is kind of lacking. Rewatchability, 0. I think that's the first 0 I've given. You know, a lot of people consider this a favorite of theirs, but for me, the nostalgia isn't enough. Like, was it something I watched as a kid? Sure. It's not something I care to revisit of my own free will. Let's put it that way. Production quality, it is a 15. It's got decent visuals, but it's kind of mediocre. So this one gets a 47 on the Kero Scale, which means it's a scratch. Alrighty, we are in the home stretch here, and the next category is Spirited Tales of the Season, and the movie selected was Jack Frost. So in this movie, a father comes back as a snowman to reconnect with his son after his untimely death. I kind of hate the premise, but let's move ahead. So for holiday spirit, I gave this one a 15 out of 20. The movie's Christmas setting and the themes of family and love are prominent, but overall, the holiday magic feels kind of secondary to the fantasy premise. Entertainment value, I've given this a 14. The film delivers some heartfelt moments, but its mix of comedy and drama doesn't always land that well. The magical snowman premise just feels kind of silly at times. Creativity, it's a 12 out of 20. It is kind of a unique concept of a father returning as a snowman, but it really does lack depth. It's touching, maybe, but it's not groundbreaking. Rewatchability, I've given it a 10. While it might be kind of sweet, it's not really a movie I think that most people would revisit every single year. It struggles to really balance its tone and kind of makes it less memorable. For production quality, I have given it a 16. It does have some strong visuals for the snowman, and it has solid performances, but overall, it's not really a standout. So this one gets 67, and that makes it a per. And next up, the category was a hidden holiday gem, and the movie selected was Mixed Nuts. So kind of the plot here, a crisis hotline staff navigates a hilariously chaotic Christmas Eve. And that's really the only way I could kind of describe what happens in this movie, honestly. Holiday spirit, 12 out of 20. Christmas is the backdrop for sure, and definitely kind of the jumping off point. But all of the different chaotic events and the dark comedy kind of overshadow the holiday cheer side of things. Entertainment value is a 14. It has a quirky ensemble cast, and they really do bring kind of the humor, but I would say that most of the jokes are kind of hit or miss. So kind of throughout the movie, the tone kind of feels a little bit uneven. Creativity, it's a 15. The story takes a unique approach to holiday chaos, focuses more on a crisis hotline during Christmas, which is unconventional, for sure. Rewatchability, it's a 10. Its eccentric humor kind of makes it a polarizing movie. I know one of the reasons I first watched this movie was because someone said that it was their least favorite Christmas movie ever. So I found that kind of intriguing, and I actually enjoy it. But I think overall, it's going to be 50-50 as to whether people would choose to watch this again. Production quality is an 18. It has a really strong ensemble cast led by Steve Martin, and the production really captures kind of the quirky offbeat vibe that it's aiming for. So for this one, overall that gets a 69. So it's a per. Next up for Christmas Eve, the category was Same Old Gift, New Wrapping Paper, and it is Miracle on 34th Street, the 90s remake. So for this one, holiday spirit is an easy 20. Christmas is everywhere in this movie. From the focus on believing in Santa Claus to the festive settings, it's all there. Entertainment value, 20. It's a heartwarming tale, and there's plenty of emotional and joyful moments. There's elements of comedy and kind of a little bit of chaos here and there. There's a lot going on and plenty to keep people of any age entertained. Creativity, it loses some marks. so it is a 14. Again, it's a remake, so it's not reinventing the wheel, but there are slight twists on the story that make it feel fresh. But ultimately, it's not straying all that far from the original formula. The rewatchability for this one is a 20. Kind of a charming, delightful little film that remains a holiday staple for many families. I know at my house, this is our Christmas Eve movie every single year. And I think that's really owed to its kind of feel-good message and timeless story. And finally, the production quality is a 20. It's got amazing performances, especially by Richard Attenborough as Santa Claus. He really is Santa Claus at the end of the day. And the supporting cast as well is fantastic. It also has beautiful cinematography, and it's a very polished, clean production. So for this one, it's a 94, so it's just short of a masterpiece, but it's still a purr. And finally, for Christmas Day, it was the holiday wildcard, and the movie I selected was The Out of Towners, which is also a 90s remake, starring Steve Martin and Goldie Hawn. A couple takes a trip to New York as the husband, Steve Martin, is interviewing for a job with a new marketing agency. Goldie Hawn, his wife, tags along. It's very chaotic, and it's just a fun movie. The reason why I selected this, it's not a holiday movie, but it's one that, me and my family used to watch together on Christmas. So it has holiday vibes for me. And you know what? If you watch it, you might kind of see what I'm getting at. So let's start with holiday spirit. It's a 4. There's not really holiday spirit here, but it's kind of more of a vibe for me. Yeah. There's just something about it. Okay. So it gets a 4. Entertainment, it's a 15. The stars deliver a solid comedic performance, especially when you throw in John Cleese as the hotel manager. The chaos and the kind of misadventures are really entertaining, but I get the humor doesn't always stick the landing. Creativity, it's a 12. It's definitely not a new concept to have a chaotic trip to New York City. Rewatchability, 14. It's a fun movie if you're a fan of Steve Martin, Goldie Hawn, John Cleese, or any of the other cast members that you might come across. But the lack of holiday focus and kind of uneven pacing makes it kind of unlikely that it's something that you're going to watch year after year, unless, like myself, it does hold kind of a special place for you. And production quality, it's a 15. The production values are pretty good, and it has a good comedic tone throughout, but watching back now, it can feel a little dated. So this one's not exactly festive, but it's still kind of a fun movie to watch. So this one on the Kero Scale is a 60, which makes it a purr. Alrighty, so that is all 25 movies that we've watched for the Christmas Movie Challenge 2024. But who came out on top? And who landed in a letterbox? Let's take a look. The one that kind of lands in the bottom here for us is, unfortunately, 8 Crazy Nights, which, funnily enough, was the very first movie that we watched. And that had a total score of 43 and was a scratch. So we didn't have anyone sitting in the letterbox. Let me know if there's a Christmas movie out there that you think is deserving of the letterbox. Some kind of notable purrs that I want to call out. For sure, Miracle on 34th Street. That did land at the 94, so one short of being a Meowsterpiece. So it's definitely something that is worth keeping an eye on next year. Some other ones, The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's a great watch. It's definitely something you should keep an eye out for. And while it's not like a great score, Mixed Nuts is a great kind of ensemble movie to watch at Christmas time. So for our top 3, Miracle on 34th Street is there with the 94. Then in joint second place, we have Home Alone with The Happiest Season, both receiving a 95, which makes them Meowsterpieces. And in first place, with a score of 98, an almost perfect score, is The Muppet Christmas Carol. Alrighty, so from the dark hilarity of Krampus to the timeless magic of A Muppet Christmas Carol, these final weeks of the challenge were filled with surprises. And now that we've crowned the ultimate holiday movie of the season, it's time to move ahead and look into the new year. But before you do that, make sure you check out the other videos from the Christmas movie challenge and let me know in the comments, what was your favorite movie from this year's challenge? Is there anything that maybe I missed? So yeah, don't forget to check out the playlist, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and make sure that you stay tuned as there are some great things coming in the new year. So until next time, stay merry, stay bright, and I'll catch you in the next one.